So today I will talk about the Fae. I worked with the Nordic Fae around a year ago under the tutelage of Odinic or Votanic energy. I called Votan, Odin, his energy to work with the Nordic Fae. They are known as elves or alvar in the Nordic tradition. If you wanna call them, just raise the sacred space through the methods provided on this channel. Call Odin and then call the Nordic Elves with a chant Alvar Anabete, Alvar Anabete, Alvar Anabete over and over again. In order for this to work, you have to have astral senses developed, which means that you already have to master chakra work and rising of the sacred space in order to do this. So after you master those two things, then call them with the chant I already mentioned, the chant you see on the screen. Now I'm gonna call about their nature, and I'm gonna talk about their nature for a while. So the Nordic elves are kinda different. Nordic elves, Nordic alvar, because in Norse mythology they are white elves, light elves, and dark elves, right? Dark elves is what we would call the dwarves, and the white elves are like celestial fae. Now, when I talk about the dwarves or the elves in Norse mythology, I am talking about celestial elves for the purpose of this video. So they are really bright, they are really invigorating, they are full of light, they are connected to the Norse god Frey. They are really good if you want to uplift your mood. They are really good if you want to empower yourself. They are really good if you want to attune yourself to the energies of stars and the sun. They tend to show up in semi-three-dimensional form and carry magical objects. They can teach you how to imbue the energy they have into the physical objects you have so that they become infused with magical properties. They can teach you the art of magical plants, and they can also teach you how to go into deeper states of consciousness. They are good for healing as well as baneful magic. They tend to love golden objects. They are a little bit mischievous. However, I found the Nordic light elves to be, out of all variations of elves, like out of Slavic elves, Irish elves, Celtic elves, the Norse elves are the most light. They are the brightest and they are kinda the safest to work with. I don't know why is that the case. I have no idea. And also the Nordic elves are the only race of elves, the only type of elves, the only type of nature spirits who offered me some kind of empowerment or initiation on the first try. So it was really interesting to work with them. They seem to have, some kind of weird technology on their own, which is something like no other spirits showed me that they openly use some weird technological devices. So only Nordic elves showed that to me, and I really don't know what to make of it. So if you want to work with them, from my personal experience, just work with energies of the sun. Nordic light elves are really solar, so just work with the energies of sun and the stars. I advise to work with the stars because If you are working with some of other materials from this channel, pretty much sun energy will banish it. But if you work with the stars, you will be able to work with those elves and also other spirits present on this channel in other videos I make. The reason why I kinda talked about those light elves today is because they are kinda unknown. Pretty much Norse mythology elves are really unknown. And they are kinda seen and put in the same package as the elves from other parts of Indo-European folklore. But honestly, elves are nature spirits. And by logic, because climate is different in a particular area, so should be the spirits of the area. So obviously, light elves from the area inhabited by the Old Norse should be different than the elves who inhabit the areas of France, for example. Because climate is different, vibe is different, animals are different. And also, some nature spirits inhabiting Arabia should be really different than the nature spirits inhabiting Northern Europe. So, when you are calling light elves, what you are specifically calling, if you are calling light elves of Norse mythology, is you are calling the celestial nature spirits from the area inhabited by the Old Norse. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and parts of Great Britain, right? So that's really what you are working with here. And I have yet to see any nature spirits coming to me in such a celestial form, yet being mischievous and unpredictable. So that is really all I have to say lore-wise. But now we will jump into how to work with them a little bit more. So essentially, this is something weird. What I'm gonna say right now is really weird. But those celestial elves tend to come followed by spheres of light, at least to me. And so you can essentially ask them to allow you for those spheres of light to stay with you so they can help you in meditation. And that's really beneficial. If you call them to the point that you can see the spheres of light, the orbs of light, just tell them to kind of make those orbs of light remain with you. And it will really help you in meditation. It will really help you in your spiritual practices. And that is one piece of advice I would have. So if you want to work with them, just raise the sacred space. Call Odin if you need protection. You can also call any other Norse deity or deity you are on good terms with, for that matter. But for this specific path working, I was suggested to call Odin, right? And then, in the presence of your protective deity, call the Fae of the Norse mythology with the chant Alvar Anavete, and they will come. And then when they come, give them offerings of fruits, preferably apples, and a little bit of wine or mead, and then give them your request. They are good for money, healing, astral senses, spiritual experiences, uplifting of the mood, and curses. Those 4 things. However, if you ask them to bring you money, they will do it in a weird way. So, if you ask them for money, expect some weird things going on, because despite of being celestial, those are kind of nature spirits and they really don't understand how the human society works. So if you ask them for money, they will give it to you in a really weird ways. So that's all I have to say regarding summoning them. Just repeat the chant in the sacred space until they come, until you feel the presence. And then you work with them and you build relationship with them. I don't necessarily think that you have to summon them in nature. They never asked me to summon them in nature. They came to me perfectly well, even in the middle of the city. However, their presence is stronger in nature for sure. Also, what I have to say is if you want to work with elves, be prepared for some weird poltergeist because they kind of do it from time to time. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.